Today we're going to create a line movement drawing. Now the reason why we're talking about movement is because movement is the fourth principle of design after balance, contrast, and emphasis. Now movement simply means the path that the viewer's eye takes through an artwork. So artists sometimes purposely create either different lines or visual elements that guide the person who's looking at it to not just look at one part of their artwork, but to move their eye around the artwork to see all of it. And that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to create different lines that will grab our attention, but then allow our eye to wander around the entire picture. In order to do this lesson, what you're going to need is a blank piece of paper. You're going to need crayons. You're also going to need watercolors. And if you have the watercolors, you're going to need that water and a paintbrush. If you don't have watercolor, don't worry, you can just use crayons to color in. That's fine. Okay, the first step that we're going to do is for our white piece of paper, what you're going to do is you're going to lay it down in landscape orientation, meaning wide and fat. Once it's laid down wide and fat, you're going to put your pincher on the top of your page and your other pincher at the bottom of your page. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take that top pincher, bring it down to the bottom pincher, and fold your paper in half and crease. Nice. It should look like a long kind of hot dog fold, we would call it. Once you have it folded in half, so that it's really long and skinny rectangle, let's open it back up. This is going to show our the top half of our piece of paper and the bottom half of our piece of paper. We're going to try to keep all of our waves at the bottom half of our piece of paper, okay? So in order to first start, we're going to first start creating our big wave, our big curved line. So what you can do is you can find a blue crayon, okay? And not the center of your page, but a little bit off to the side of the center of your page, right above that center fold. We're going to create a letter C that starts above the fold and will curve down and slightly dip under that fold. So go ahead, take your blue crayon, start above that fold, make a curved line to the left like you're drawing the letter C, and then once you get to that center fold, curve it down below that center fold like you're making the letter C. Okay, that's a curved line, but we're going to take that curved line and we're going to start to make it a wavy line for our ocean waves. So right at the end of our letter C, let's continue that line, curving it up, but once it hits that fold, curve it down, then curve it back up again, hit the fold, curve it down, curve it up again, hit the fold, and then keep making a wavy line until your wavy line gets to the edge of your page. Okay. Then we're going to create the other kind of curved lines of our big waves that turn into the ocean waves below it. So at the top of your letter C, right at the point, at the top of your letter C, same point, we're going to start from that point, but then we're going to curve it slightly up higher and around underneath. So get out your blue marker, or blue crayon, I'm sorry, and right at that tip of your letter C, curve it up higher. And you're going to make what's called a parallel line. Parallel line means it goes in the same direction at the same time. You're making that parallel curved line along the side of your letter C, keeping a little space in between them. And then once it gets to the bottom of the C, you're going to do the same thing where you're just going to start making your wavy lines of your ocean waves till it gets off your page. Okay, let's do it again. We're going to start again at the top of our letter C, curve it up even higher, curve it around in a parallel line, make the bigger C, and then once the C ends, then you can make a wavy line for your ocean waves till it's off the page. Now, see that we ran out of space right here? That's okay. I still need to fill in this bottom space with our curved lines. So even though we ran out of space from our letter C, what we can do is right underneath where it hit the edge of my paper, I can draw my lines of my wavy lines, just filling in that space again. They don't have to be parallel wavy lines. You can just make wavy lines that are different from the ones above. That's fine. But it looks like, you know what? I have a little space in here that I can make my wave look even curvier. So what I might do is I might add another line go underneath for my wave. So maybe I'll extend the tip of my C even down further. And then I'm just gonna add another curved line till it hits that wave. Nice. And maybe I'll make another one out there. Big ocean wave. Beautiful. Now that we have our ocean waves done, let's put our blue crayon back. Let's start making our sun that's above our ocean waves. So go ahead, I used orange crayon, but you can use any of the warm colors. So reds, oranges, or yellows to outline your sun, but I like to use my orange. I'm gonna find somewhere on the other side of my paper, right above my waves, my ocean waves, I'm gonna start from the top of the waves and I'm gonna create a curved line again, like a half circle, starting from the top of one wave and maybe ending at the top of another, okay? But I want my viewers' eye not to just get stuck on that half circle. I want their eye to go upward and to the sky. So I'm gonna create these diagonal lines that come off my sun so that when people look at my wave, it's gonna go, whoa! They're gonna look at the sun, but then the rays, those lines will go outward so their eye will go upward. So on top of your half circle, you can create a vertical line at the top middle, and then from there, you can draw the diagonal lines. So on either side of that, I might make two small diagonal lines going in either direction, then a large one on both sides, and a small one again. I'm going in a pattern, large, small, large, small, large, small, until you can't see my sun's rays anymore because it's the ocean waves. All right, so we have the lines, the curved line for my sun, those diagonal and vertical lines of my sun's rays. Let's draw the clouds. Okay, now I used purple for my clouds, but you can use any color that you'd like to draw your clouds. Above my sun in my sky, I'm gonna draw a couple clouds. Now, and when I make clouds, I use what's called a scallop line, meaning they're just little curved lines that connect to each other, one right next to each other. So you can go ahead and use the scalloped lump lines that are all connected to create one cloud. Look for how much space you have above your sky. If you can fit a second one, you can fit number two. I might even fit a cloud that's right next to my big ocean wave here. That looks pretty good. Now, in order for my clouds to look like they're moving, to show movement, and to direct my viewer's eye back over here, to make it look like it's being blown in this direction, at the side of my clouds, I might just make a few horizontal lines off the side of it that look like it's being blown in this direction and they're moving towards my left. So on the side of your clouds, you can go ahead and draw some horizontal lines that show that they're being blown this way. Beautiful. And then on the inside of your clouds, if you just want to make a couple curved lines to show the texture of your fluffy, fluffy clouds, you can go ahead and do that. All right, looks like we've drawn all of our lines for the different parts of our drawing. It's now time to do the watercolor. So if you have watercolors, you can get out your water jar. You can get out your paintbrush and your watercolor paints. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take that dry paintbrush, we're gonna dip it in our water. And let's start off with our ocean waves, okay? You can find any blue that you have in your watercolor set, and you can swirl, swirl, swirl your wet paintbrush into the blue paint, whatever blue you would like, until you see the blue on your bristles. And then you're gonna take that blue on your paintbrush and you are going to just start painting it, pulling your paintbrush, dragging your paintbrush along on the inside of those blue lines that we made. If you run out of paint, because it's just showing a sort of white, that means you need to dip your paintbrush back in the water, swirl, swirl, swirl again, get more paint on your brush, and again, drag that watercolor underneath those blue lines to fill in the space of our ocean water. There we go, I'm just filling it in. Now I used my kind of turquoisey blue. You can use a different blue if yours is different from mine, that's okay. But I might even, if I really wanted to, I can even pick another blue or even a purple to add on top, because that's the nice thing about watercolors, is that you can add two colors together. But I want to keep my second color going in the same direction as my lines that I've created. So if you add a second color, make sure that it's going still within the same direction as those lines that we made. So going along the curved line, going along the wavy lines, etc. Beautiful. All right, since I want to switch colors, I need to wash out my brush. So you're going to take that paintbrush, put it in the water, press up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, to make sure that all of the blue gets off of your paintbrush, and give it a nice squeegee, meaning you rub the bristles along the edge of your water jar. The next color that I want to do is the yellow of my sun. So I'm going to take my wet paintbrush, I'm going to find the yellow, I'll swirl, swirl, swirl it in the yellow, and I see that the yellow is on my bristles, so I'm going to fill in the inside of my sun. Go ahead. But since my sun's light is emitting outward in those rays, I'm going to take that yellow and I'm going to also fill in the area where my sun's rays are, because the rays of the suns are beaming outward. Beautiful. Once I'm done with that, again, I need to clean out my brush. So I'm going to put it in my water jar, press up, down, up, down, up, down, until it's all clean. Now I made mine a sunset, so I used the warm colors. In case you forgot, the warm colors are at the beginning of the rainbow. The warm colors are reds, oranges, and yellows. They are the opposite of the cool colors, which are greens, blues, and purples. So our drawing is going to have contrast. Remember, contrast meaning the opposite, where we're going to have warm colors as part of our sky and the cool colors as our ocean. So if you have your sun all colored, let's get out the orange. Put orange on our brush by swirling our brush inside the orange. And then notice how I'm going over my clouds. I don't mind if it gets on my clouds. I'm just going to take that orange, fill in a little space, the background space around my sun. Just around my sun. I'm not going over my ocean wave. I'm leaving that blue, but I'm just going to take my orange and I'm putting it around my sun. And then I might take my red next and fill in the background space on top of my orange to make that nice sunset. Very beautiful. Awesome. And that's about it. All right, friends. Well, I hope you had fun doing your own line movement drawing, and I can't wait to see yours.